Hey, this is your mountain bike rookie, and I want to give you 9 reasons why I believe the humble HardTail is the best mountain bike that you can own, even over the likes of full suspension or e-bikes. And what I'm going to do is a little bit of a flow trail. I'm going to take you along on the ride, give you 3 reasons at the start, 3 reasons halfway through, and 3 reasons at the end. And I trust that when this is all said and done, you'll agree with me that the HardTail is the best mountain bike out there. Let's do this. Alright, so let's talk about my first 3 reasons. And the first is this, the cost comparison. You know, if I was going to get a full suspension bike with the componentry that's on this bike, in terms of your brakes and your calipers and your suspension, front suspension and that, I'd be paying at least £1,000 more. And so you can get a low entry level full suspension bike or a higher end hardtail. And so, you know what, if you don't have endless money, the hardtail is the way to go. Second reason is this, it is the componentry. You know, if there's a big shock right here, there's a lot can go wrong with this bike. There's a lot here that happens in a full suspension bike to absorb those bumps and those hits, and it's fantastic. Yes, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot here that works and moves, and the more moving parts you've got in a bike, the more that can go wrong. And that's my third reason as well, is cleaning all of this. Let me tell you, in wintertime, when you finish riding this bike, it takes forever to clean. And the more bolts and little moving parts and little areas you've got where mud can get into, the longer it takes to keep the bike clean, lubricated, and tidy. And so from that perspective, this simplicity is the way forward. Here's my next 3 reasons. If you do have a full suspension bike, whether it's an e-bike or full sus, and you're in the middle of nowhere, which is pretty much where I find myself right now, if something goes wrong with this rear shock, if it blows or it malfunctions, the bike is pretty much useless. You can't use it. You're going to be pushing your bike home. Now, I love riding with a backpack, but if you don't, a hardtail offers all this real estate where you can fix things, whether it's a spare tire or a pump or water bottles. Whereas if you've got stuff going on here, all the componentry of an e-bike or full sus, you don't have all this beautiful space to carry almost anything, including a tent if you want to go backpacking. Boom! And this is my 6th reason. If you're on a hardtail, you're going to feel connected to Mother Nature. You know, on a full suspension bike, you're going to glide over those roots, those tree stumps, those rocks, and some like that. But I actually feel more connected to the contours of the land. The great outdoors when you can feel those tree stumps, and I think it makes you a better rider. I just came down a super technical section, and it was wild to just stay on the bike. Loved it. Some people hate it, but I think that's a good reason to consider the hardtail. Upwards and onwards. Let's go. to 0.7, 8 and 9. You know, full suspension hides your lack of skill. Maybe this is not something you want to identify with, but I nearly came off the bike like 17 times in filming this little video. And a full suspension just hides the fact that you're not quite as good a rider as you may think you are. Point number 8, why hardtails are better. If you don't have massive mountains, and like me, you're living in the British Isles, or you know, you're not in the Canadian Rockies or something awesome like that, then why do you need a full sus? Why do you need an e-bike for that matter? A hardtail is enough to just have a cracking time. And then finally, you know, the humble hardtail is the jack of all trades. You can do a bit of road work with it if you want to commute. You can take it into urban riding. You can go play on the routes like this. Whoopah! You can do a little bit of downhill. You can do a bit of jumping. And you can do it up. I nearly came off again. There you go. And you can do it all with a smile on your face. That's why I think the humble hardtail is the best way to go. Alright, so those are my 9 reasons as to why I think the humble hardtail is simply the best bike one can own. Now, you may be a die-hard full sus or an e-bike fan, and listen, I would like to own them myself. But if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're a hardtail kind of guy. So let me know, what are your reasons why you think the hardtail is simply the best? I've really enjoyed this little adventure with you. This is your mountain bike rookie. Until next time, see you soon.